Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. We have a lot of news to go over today, ladies and gentlemen. I will leave the link to all of these articles in a pinned comment, so if you want to revisit them, just take a look at the very first comment under this video and you'll be able to visit every link that you want to visit. In addition to that, I leave chapters on these videos. That way, if there is a piece of news that you're not interested in, all you have to do is just go to the next chapter. Very easy. All you do is go to under the description and click on the timestamp for the chapter for whatever it is that you want to go to, right? So very simple for you to follow along and skip anything that you may want to skip. Here it says that Europe's dark winter woes worsen. Did we think it could get any worse? I actually didn't think it could get any worse for Europe as it is already, but I guess I was wrong. Ukraine stops exporting electricity to Europe. Things are just going downhill at a faster and faster rate. Ukraine has announced that it will have to halt electricity exports to Europe because of the Russian missile strikes and are said to be responsible for the forced suspension of power exports, Kiev has announced. Damage to the energy infrastructure caused by Moscow's airstrike in retaliation to the attack on the Crimean Bridge has forced Ukraine's government to cut off electricity exports to the European Union. The strikes removed a supply source that Kiev claims helped its partner reduce their reliance on power generated with Russian natural gas. And it says here that Russia has already stated that the missile strikes on Ukraine were a response to the damage that was done to the Crimean Bridge. For our brothers and sisters in the European nations, I hope that you are preparing because this is going to be a tough winter. I think that if you listen to my last video, listen to that video because, you know, society is actually starting to break down in parts of Europe. People are, you know, taking each other out for just things that you would have never thought of, ladies and gentlemen. It's incredible. Start thinking about ways to heat like a small room in your home. If you can at least heat a small room in your home and then seal that room off and be in there, it'll be like a hot box, right? You go in there when the rest of the home is too cold and you can have one small room to go into to get some respite from the cold. I think you ought to start thinking about that and also start thinking about getting additional layers of clothing that especially hold in more heat. Like wool clothing is probably better than cotton. Make sure that you have different layers. Make sure that your first layer is a wicking layer. That way, if for some reason you sweat for some reason, that sweat won't be trapped in there because that's actually really bad if you're in a cold environment and you're sweating. Start thinking about those things, ladies and gentlemen, because you know, winter's coming. This is a little bit of good news, even though it won't go anywhere, but it just goes to show you that there are some people in government that understand that fiat currency is not real money. U.S. Congressman introduces gold standard bill as inflation spirals out of control. My question is this: why have they been waiting to introduce this bill as inflation scrambles out of control or spirals out of control? They should be introducing this bill every single day of every single year. Every single congressman. They should be introducing this bill. Just keep pushing it and pushing it. Will it ever get passed? I don't think so. However, it will bring notoriety to the people that don't understand what real money is. America's currency would regain stable footing for the first time in a half century, a little more than a half century really, if a bill just introduced by U.S. Representative Alex Mooney becomes law. Referred to as the Gold Standard Restoration Act. I don't understand why they have to say the Gold Standard Restoration Act. Real money is gold. That's what money is. That's what the Constitution says money is. It doesn't say that legal tender is money. It says that gold and silver are money. Anyways, by sound money activists calls for the repegging of the Federal Reserve note to gold in order to address the ongoing problems of inflation, runaway federal debt, and monetary system instability. I'll take it one further than that. Get rid of the Federal Reserve and go back to allowing the Treasury to handle the gold and issue the Treasury notes that can then be redeemed by gold. That's the only way that you can really hold governments accountable. If the government had a Treasury that was backed by gold and people can go into a bank and trade that Treasury for actual gold or silver. That is how you really keep governments accountable for how much they can spend. However, at least this is a start. Ladies and gentlemen, this is only going to get worse. Americans continue to pay for inflation with their credit cards. I'm not sure if I read this or if I saw it on a video or something saying that last month, i.e. the month of September, that Americans spent a lot more. And, you know, there were some pundits saying that, you see, the economy is doing good. Americans are paying more. Well, the reason they're paying more is because inflation is high. It's because things cost so much more. Well, now they have no choice but to go and pay for the things that they need to live, take it out on credit. You've all heard me say before, I've talked about this before, that between this year and last year, I believe it's like 88% more people are taking out microloans so that they can buy groceries. This is only going to continue to get worse, ladies and gentlemen. In the end, inflation will suck up all of your purchasing power. If you are not of means, stock up that pantry. Get a second job. Do whatever you have to do right now in order to make sure that you insulate yourself from the shortages that are going to be coming, because eventually shortages will come. And here, it doesn't really matter who is doing it, but it says here, top Democrats pivot against weapons sales to Saudi Arabia after oil production cut. We don't learn. The reason that we have a petrodollar is because the OPEC nations agreed with the United States, as long as the United States would provide military assistance to Saudi Arabia and would provide arms to them, they agreed that they would sell oil in dollars, therefore making an artificial need for dollars around the world, enabling the government to print all of the money it wanted because they had to supply all of these other governments and central banks with dollars because they needed them in order to buy oil. We got a whole bunch of real physical stuff that people had to spend their time and energy making. All right, we got a whole bunch of that stuff, just like we're getting from China now and other countries that we are importing from. We got that for paper. We printed paper, gave them paper, and now we have their stuff. Well, now they're waking up to this. And now Saudi Arabia has made that same deal that they made with us 51 years ago, I believe it was. Yes, 1971 or 1973, something like that. 50 years ago. They made that same deal with Russia. And guess what? When they don't need us anymore, what do you think that oil is going to be sold for in the national stage? Do you think it'll be dollars? I don't think so. I think it'll be whatever currency they decide, but it won't be the dollar. Why? Because they don't need us anymore. They have the same thing from Russia that they were getting from us. And I think they're being very nice and letting us go slowly. They're letting us drift away nice and slowly. That way it won't be an instant crash. But eventually the dollar will lose its hegemony in the world currency, as the world reserve currency. I'm not going to get into this article very much, but here it says, rising rates will crash the over-leveraged economy. I want you to understand what over-leveraged means. Over-leveraged pretty much means that you spent more than what you have. That's what over-leveraged means. Our economy is over-leveraged, meaning what? That they've spent more, we've spent more, the government has spent more than what we have. All right. When you buy a stock on leverage, let's say that stock costs, that share of that stock costs $10. Well, let's say that you want to buy it on leverage. So then what you're going to do is you're going to put down $2 and you're going to borrow $8. Right? That's kind of like how it works. So if that stock, if you bought that stock at 80% leverage, if it goes down from $10 to $7, you have to pay up that $1, at least that $1 that's been lost. And that is exactly the position that we are in as an economy, because we are a debt-based economy, but more importantly as a government. Our government spends so much more than what it brings in, even though it collects crazy amount of taxes every year. Every year after year is more tax collection than the year before, and they still have to spend more. Last year, I believe that the government spent about 50% more than what they took in taxes. I believe they took in like $4 trillion in taxes and spent about $6 trillion. 50% more. Do you think that your household could manage spending 50% more every year, year after year after year, than what you actually bring in income? No. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what's going to happen. That's why I say there's going to be a liquidity crisis, because there is so much debt out there that there's not enough money to pay it back. There's literally not enough money to pay back all this debt that is owed within the system. So what has to be done when we have a liquidity crisis, a liquidity issue? The government has to step in and start printing. And what happens when the government steps in and starts printing? Have we learned anything in the last 2.5 years with all of this money printing that's been going on? Yes, inflation is going to continue to go up. Inflation, as I've stated, is the song that never ends. It will continue and continue and continue until this system finally crashes. So I hope that you're getting ready for that. I hope that you're getting ready for a day when our dollars will be worth almost nothing. For a day when the banks will be closed because there will be no dollars to hand out, where ATMs won't work and your credit cards won't work. Are you ready for that? Or are you stocking up on those things, or do you have a backup for those infrastructures that you rely on an everyday basis? Because you're going to need to rely on yourself for a while. I'm not sure how long it's going to be. It might be for a month. It might be for 6 months. I don't know. It may be for a year. But are you ready for that at whatever level you're capable of stocking up for? Because eventually this has to happen. And the reason I say it has to happen is because mathematics does not lie. Because 2 plus 2 will always equal 4. Unless we're in some kind of a different dimension where the laws of physics and the laws of mathematics are different. In this world here, where we're at, 2 plus 2 equals 4. It equals 4 today, it equaled 4 100 years ago, and it will equal 4 tomorrow. So get prepared for what's coming, because there's really no good news to go over. The only good news really was that someone's introducing a bill where we should go back to a gold-backed currency. And I doubt that's going to happen. Diesel is back above $5. Gas prices continue to rise as ugly inflation returns. I said it before, I've said it months ago, that we're going to have a period of respite where things are going to level off and then things are going to start going back up. So have you been preparing for this? Have you seen anything in your areas? Really, can you leave it in the comments, like go down in price and stay down for an extended period of time, for like the last 3 or 4 months? Let us know if you've seen that. But in my opinion, gas prices only have one way to go. They're going to continue to go up. And inflation as well. You're going to see it as well with inflation. There's going to come, I don't know when, maybe next month, maybe in the next couple of months, I don't know. But even the inflation numbers are going to go down for a little bit. They're probably going to go back down for a little bit. I don't know, 5-6% instead of the 8-9% that we've been used to. They're probably going to go back down for a little bit, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh yes, inflation is doing better. We're almost done. We're over the worst part." And then you're going to see it shoot straight up, ladies and gentlemen. And to finish it off, Federal Reserve announcement: 6 large banks will participate in pilot climate scenario or social credit system. Why is the Federal Reserve participating, or the banks, right, the 6 large banks participating with the Federal Reserve in a pilot climate scenario or social credit system? Why would they be doing some kind of a simulation like that? Are they planning something? Why are banks participating in something that has to do with social credit or climate scenarios? Aren't they banks? Shouldn't they just be worried about a ledger and in and out? Why are they doing this? I can tell you exactly why. Because the United States of America has been taken over, especially the banks and the large corporations. And what you have to understand is that they've been taken over by a force that's never been elected by you or me or anyone. And that force is now telling them to follow a model called ESG, Environmental Social Governance. And what does that model conclude? It concludes that all of these large companies are going to start doing business how the UN tells them to do business. Oh, wait a minute, you need a loan? You need a loan to start this business? Oh no, you can't get a loan. You can't get a loan because you're not following this or following that. You're not very socially responsible. Have you seen the things that you say on YouTube? You're not very socially responsible. Oh, wait a minute. We noticed that you've bought a lot of boomsticks here in the last year. That's not very socially responsible as well. Oh, you drive an SUV? Well, that's not very socially responsible. Oh, you want a loan to get an SUV? Oh, no, we can't do that. We're not going to give out loans for SUVs anymore. Oh, you want to start a business? You want to start a gas business so that we can get more gas independence, natural gas independency here in the United States? No, natural gas is not good for the environment. That's exactly what it is, ladies and gentlemen. and the social credit system is just a cherry on top. I believe that this is going to happen. It's going to take a miracle for it not to happen. However, I believe that after it does happen, that the masses will wake up. People are going to be so miserable and so upset that they agreed to this system that then the masses will come together and say no and not participate. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to finish this video off by doing a little show and tell. I got a little bit of a mail call, so I want to show you what I got and thank the people that sent this to me. Let me start off with this. Nutrient Survival. They sent me one of their famous knitted caps with the little Nutrient Survival logo right there, so it's very cool. Along with the scarf, all right, that you've all seen Becky wear. They also sent me a few patches that I begged Becky for. All right, really like these. And here is their signature patch right here, the green one. And they also sent me some of this. These are the little memory tabs or whatever, memory chocolates. And I'll tell you what, these things are delicious. Now it states in this box that this is supposed to help you with your memory. And I'll tell you what, I hope it works, because if it works, I'm going to become a regular user of this, right? I might even slip a few of these into my wife's M&M stash, because although she may not say so, she can probably use some of these as well. So thank you very much, Nutrient Survival, for this. If for some reason you don't know by now that Nutrient Survival is a freeze-dried food company, and they make the very best and most nutrition-dense freeze-dried food that there is in the market, period. Go check them out yourself. Go check them out. Use my link in the description of the video. I also have a code for 10% off, AP10. And just go check out their food and compare their nutrition against other major brands or any brand that you want. And you're going to find out that they are the most nutrient-dense food that there is out there. All right. So thanks again, Becky and Eric, for sending me that. I also received a very nice card that says "You are kind." All right. I'm not going to read to you what it says inside, but thank you very much for this. And I received another card that came with a gift for Michael. And wait till you see this. It is very, very cool. Very cute. I'll say cute. All right. And look at this. Is that cool or what? And the thing is, it looks like it's a little husky or a fox or something, but it looks like a little husky. And Michael just happens to really like a little dog and dragon figures as well. He loves a little dragon figure that he got that plays music for him. But thank you very much for this. He's actually coming over today, so we'll be able to give this to him today. And also, and by the way, this was knitted. They knitted this themselves. Right? I'm not sure about the dog. No, this was purchased, but this was handcrafted along with this awesome little blanket. Look at that. I hope you can see that. So I want to say thank you very much for sending this. This is awesome. I have an awesome community, or we have an awesome community. Not I, it's us. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for all of your support. Continue to prepare. All right, continue to prepare. I don't do these videos so that I can have something to do. I love doing these videos. I truly do enjoy it. I enjoy connecting with you all, and I really love our live streams. But I do these videos because I see this as a possibility. Everything that I've shown you here, especially this Federal Reserve, credit score system and all that kind of stuff. I see this as a very good possibility. The probabilities of them taking us this direction. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what. Mao Zedong, I believe he was the emperor or the leader of China here for a while, for the Chinese regime back there for a while in the 50s, early 50s, whatever. Also, the little guy with the mustache, that guy, Lenin, all right, Mussolini. All of these guys, they would have been foaming at the mouth if they would see the things that governments are getting away with now. Having said that, let me get off my soapbox. Have a great rest of your day. God bless every one of you, and we will talk to you tomorrow.